Good morning, everyone. I'm Tejas Jain, founder of MU20 School of Opportunity. And today I want to talk about something I call the science of starting young. But before I do that, I've got a quick question to ask all of you. How many of you, at least once in a life, thought to yourself that you want to be a high achiever, you want to be the absolute best version of yourself? How many of you thought to yourself that you want to be on top of whatever field you choose? Let me know by the show of your hands. Absolutely everyone. I love the energy of this room. This is a really high-performing room. Incredible. So this talk today is going to be really meaningful to all of you. Stay tuned. Let's talk about something really important, the science of starting young. But before I jump down to explaining you the science, allow me to set the context by introducing you to three important characters that are going to help us decipher this science. Character number one is an 8-year-old boy. Lives in Delhi. His father runs a mess. His father runs a mess at National School of Drama. This is interesting. For those of you who do not know what National School of Drama is, allow me to quickly tell you that this is an institution of national significance. It's an institution that has produced some of the finest actors of all time, likes of Mr. Anupam Kher, Mr. Irfan Khan, Mr. Nawazuddin Siddiqui, Mr. Nasruddin Shah, and the list goes on. Now, because his father runs a mess over there, this 8-year-old boy has got access to National School of Drama. Every day after school, the boy would go back to his father at National School of Drama, and because of this access, he has now started to witness how the actors over there rehearse and perform. He has now gradually started to notice every dialogue that they're speaking, every pause, every laughter, every applause. That's it. Remember this information. Allow me to quickly introduce you to character number two. Character number two is again a very interesting guy. He is a really dedicated, committed footballer. He is 12 years of age. He was born in Portugal on an island over there. And by the age of 7, started to play football because his father was a kitman at a local football club. This guy got access to football early. He started to witness seasoned players, started to copy them, and learned the art of playing football early in his life, and by the age of 12 is now moving to Sporting Lisbon, which is one of the finest football clubs in Portugal. And the third character, again a very interesting character, is an 11-year-old boy. He's from New York. His father is a dentist, and he is really excited to learn computers. He's really excited to learn programming, and this guy told his father that probably he wants somebody who can mentor him. And his father was genuinely very nice in terms of fostering his curiosity, nurturing his talent. He got him a tutor who started to mentor him for computer programs. What I want to tell you is that the first guy that we talked about, who was an 8-year-old, had access to National School of Drama early in his life, later goes on to become one of the most celebrated actors of all time, face of Indian cinema globally. He has starred in over 80 films, national award winner, recipient of 14 Filmfare Awards. We're talking about Shah Rukh Khan. The second guy that we talked about, the guy from Portugal, is one of the finest footballers of all time, wins Ballon d'Or 5 times, secures European Golden Shoe 4 times, scores over 940 career goals for his club and country, becomes the all-time top scorer in both UEFA Champions League and UEFA European Championship. We're talking about Cristiano Ronaldo. And the third guy that we were talking about is one of the most influential technology entrepreneur of our times. The guy who co-founded Facebook at 19, grew it into a global social network connecting over 3 billion people, did one of the biggest IPOs of all time, Mark Zuckerberg. Now, these people are not exceptions. These people are patterns. If you'll observe closely, you will notice that it's the same story repeating over and over again. This is the story of Steve Jobs. This is the story of Serena Williams. This is the story of A.R. Rahman. This is the story of Picasso. What is it that's common between all of them? They started young. And because they started young, they had access to opportunities. They had more access to mentors early in their lives. They had access to tools. They had access to inspiration. When we talk about starting young, we're not talking about getting a head start. We're talking about rewiring the brain for mastery. Neuroscience shows that during adolescence and childhood, our brains are like high-speed learning machines. They're highly plastic. They form new connections rapidly. Every skill that we touch during those years quite literally shape the way we think, learn, and build things later in our lives. Take Shah Rukh Khan. At the age of 8, when he started to notice actors perform at National School of Drama, it just didn't spark a dream. It rewired his brain to notice emotions, to notice timing, to notice storytelling. When Cristiano Ronaldo started to kick the ball at 7, it just wasn't play. It rewired his brain to actually become an absolutely high-performing individual. It was thousands of hours of neural wiring that turned him into the football genius that he is today. When A.R. Rahman started to play at his father's orchestra at the age of 9, it built circuits in his brain to understand musical intuition better that later helped him create global hits. Serena Williams, practicing on cracked tennis court at the age of 4, every miss, every hit, every swing, every run prepared her body and mind to actually respond faster, think strategically, and perform under pressure. Here's the magic. When we talk about starting young, people who start young, they get more time to actually encode these patterns, to turn curiosity into skills and to turn exposure into excellence. When we talk about neuroscience says that during childhood and adolescence, our brains are in the best learning states. When we talk about it, they're more flexible, they're highly plastic, and they're really curious. We call it neuroplasticity. The brain's ability to form, strengthen, and prune neural pathways at an extraordinary speed. When we talk about individuals who turn high performers later in their careers, they actually start young. When the child learns something new because of neuroplasticity, the brain automatically starts to rewire their brain to learn that skill. Be it solving a puzzle, be it writing a story, be it playing an instrument, performing anything. But what's interesting and what's truly fascinating is that this neural wiring does not happen equally throughout the life. It happens during sensitivity periods. When we talk about these sensitive periods, these are windows when the brain is more receptive to certain kind of learnings. Now, when we talk about these periods, we're talking about windows when the mind is ready to learn language faster, music faster, mathematics faster, perhaps emotional intelligence faster, social learning. And that's the reason why some 5 years old can learn language faster than most adults with a language application. When you expose a child to rhythm and melody early in their lives, they start to feel the music later and not just play it because their brain is primed for it. And behind all of this is something called myelination, the process of wrapping insulation layer around neural circuits so signals travel faster. Now, the more you practice these skills early in your lives, thicker the insulation gets. And that is where people start to get that edge. When we talk about all of this, what does this culminate into? It culminates into compound effect. Starting at 8 versus starting at 18 is not just a 10-year head start. It's exponential because every hour that you put in early in your lives is not just one more hour because repetition strengthens neural pathways, sharpens instincts, and deepens familiarity. When somebody gives hours in the beginning of their career or during school days, they're quite literally building a pathway for success. If you were to notice their learning curve, it would bend upwards because the brain automates the basics and moves on to mastery. And that is the most interesting part about this. Now, what does this further lead to? It leads to 2 cognitive advantages. Number 1 is pattern recognition. People who start early in their lives, they start to notice patterns others miss. It could be notes in music, it could be logic in code, it could be shapes in design, it could be emotion in storytelling. And once somebody learns to recognize these, they become better than the rest of them. When we talk about the second advantage, which is risk-taking comfort, when people start early in their lives, they know that failure is normal. They would forget lines, they would miss notes, they would lose matches, and they learn that it's part of the process. And when life throws bigger challenges to them later, they don't freeze, they adapt. And again, that comes out as a competitive advantage. Allow me to quickly tell you the final piece, the reduction of the learning curve later in life. Think of brain like a software system, and these early experiences as the code that you write while the system is still in development. The richer the code is, the more varied the code is, better the curiosity, better the challenge, how good the feedback is. Based on that, the brain develops algorithm to make it faster, to make it more adaptable, to make it stronger. People who start early in their lives quite literally get this edge to actually become better versions of themselves and professionally. Allow me to quickly tell you that if as schools we give students early access to mentors, to real world problems, to, let's say, opportunities, we're not just teaching them something new. We're engineering a belief which rewires their brain to say, I can do this. And that belief, more than anything else, is what contributes to extraordinary careers. Remember, friends, talent is universal, opportunity is not. Some students get access to great platforms, great opportunities, great mentors. Others equally capable never really get a chance. The world doesn't really lack talent, it lacks opportunity, it lacks access, it lacks the courage to let the children know what they're truly capable of before the world tells them that what they're supposed to be. School over the years have been seen as places as academic centers, places that prepare students for examinations, to pass examinations rather. But then it's time that we change that thought process. We realize that future is not built by those who can memorize, it's built by those who can imagine. It's time we realize that we will have to shift the model of giving instructions to the model of giving exploration opportunities. It's time that we realize that we shift the model from rote learning to real learning, because the next Shah Rukh Khan, the next Mark Zuckerberg, the next Cristiano Ronaldo is already sitting in the classroom. And now the question is, will we be able to give them the opportunity to explore what they're truly capable of? Because this is what matters the most. Not just learning about the world, but giving them the opportunity to change it. Thank you. Thank you so much.